So who will be the speaker in the Lok Sabha? Remember that we're bracing for another parliament session kicking off next week, but the suspense continues over the speaker post. As we speak, there's a crucial meeting taking place at Rajnath Singh's residence in the national capital, where you've got representatives of the NDA also present. Besides that, several senior BJP leaders, Manohar Lal Khattar, Dharmendra Pradhan, Kiren Rijiju, Dr. S. Jaishankar, have all in fact turned up for the meeting. Union ministers essentially. Allies also are there, with political parties, with NDA parties being represented in this meeting as well. The discussion is on the strategy for the upcoming parliament session, but importantly, it's also expected that there will be some clarity on who will be picked as the next speaker. Let's bring in Piyush Mishra, who's joining us live with more details on this. Even as the meet is underway, Piyush, any details that you've been able to pick up on who could possibly be in the lead, on any names, contenders for the speaker post?
Well, actually, there are many names who are doing rounds, like the name of Bhartrihari Mehta. Remember that he was with BJD and he had switched to BJP recently, and he has also won from Odisha. And the other name is of, in fact, Lok Sabha Speaker, the current Lok Sabha Speaker, Om Birla himself, because what we are learning from our sources is that BJP likely to reappoint him as the Lok Sabha Speaker, and there are other names also doing rounds, and these are the names from NDA. But sources are telling us that the BJP is going to tell to NDA allies first, and then only it will propose the name of the leader who will be appointed as speaker, or the contest will take place. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be basically announcing the name of the speaker, name for the speaker's post on 26th of June. On 24th and 25th, the new MPs will be taking oath, and then on 26th, the election of Speaker of Lok Sabha will take place. And the top leadership of BJP is now mulling on this right now as we are speaking. At the residence of Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, there is an NDA meet which is right now underway. Yeah. There are NDA allies from JDU.
And we've got some details coming in on that. Piyush, just stay with me. Even as the meeting is underway, sources have told us here on India Today that it is going to be, the speaker is going to be someone from the BJP. That allies apparently were asked, the BJP has asked allies if they have any name or suggestion for the post of speaker. Allies, however, haven't come up with any names. They've left the decision completely to the BJP. And there's been, in fact, a clear communication sent across from all of the parties within the NDA that they want Prime Minister Modi to take his pick and that they will back it 100%. There was a lot of talk, Piyush, that the TDP, the JDU, all of them are pushing hard for the speaker's post. Doesn't seem to be the case. In all likelihood, it's going to be a BJP face who will be the speaker.
Well, in all likelihood, it will be the BJP face only. JDU has made it amply clear that it is going to support the BJP's candidate. JDU has already said that we have a post vice chairman of Rajya Sabha. He is already with JDU, and that's why they are very much of the view that they are going to support the BJP's candidate for Lok Sabha Speaker's post. But contrary to that, TDP has said that it would want a NDA leader. So it remains to be seen what happens in this meeting. As we are speaking, the top leaders like of BJP, who are cabinet ministers also, like S. Jaishankar, Dharmendra Pradhan, Manohar Lal Khattar, the leaders from LJP like Chirag Paswan, Lalan Singh from JDU, and Ramohana Naidu from TDP, they all are present there at Defence Minister Rajnath Singh's residence, where they are discussing on the name who could be the BJP's pick for Lok Sabha Speaker post. At the same time, what we are learning is that the government does not want any kind of confrontation with opposition as far as the Deputy Speaker's post is concerned, and that is why the discussions with NDA allies are right now taking place. And then most likely when Deputy Speaker election takes place, the government would put forth the name of NDA ally. So we'll have to see who would be that face. But what we are learning is that Speaker's post is most likely to be with the BJP, and Deputy Speaker's post is likely to be from one of the key NDA allies, either from JDU or from TDP.
And it'll be interesting if that actually can happen, because the opposition also is gunning right now, saying very clearly we want the Deputy Speaker's post, or we will fight for the Speaker's post itself. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Thanks, Piyush, for those details. So here's what we've picked up so far based on what Piyush has told us about what really is happening in all of these hectic meetings that are underway, not just today, but in the last few days. You've seen several such BJP NDA huddles. The Prime Minister will go ahead and propose the Speaker's name on June 26th. Modi will then introduce the cabinet to the parliament after the Speaker election. Now, the BJP top leadership also met with the outgoing Speaker Om Birla, which has sparked speculation of whether Om Birla will once again be picked by the Bharatiya Janata Party, by the NDA, as the Speaker pick yet again. Now, allies, as we told you, have been contacted by the BJP for their suggestions for names who they believe should be the Speaker. But the allies so far haven't proposed any names. They've left the decision completely to the BJP. Now, interestingly, the opposition also could contest for the Lok Sabha Speaker's post. And that's the next breaking news that's coming in right now. Let's cut across straight to that. Now, the opposition has made it very clear that they want the Deputy Speaker's post and they expect it to be allocated to the opposition parties. If that doesn't happen, reportedly opposition leaders and parties are in talks to figure out whether they should then go ahead and nominate a candidate for the Speaker in the next, in the Lok Sabha essentially. So it'll be interesting to see exactly what happens, whether there will be any sort of decision taken by the opposition on this front. Rahul Gautam is joining us with more details on this. He'll be with us in just a bit, but the opposition making it clear that, look, considering what happened in the previous elections, it's not the same circumstance here because now we've got better numbers in Lok Sabha, we're better represented, so we want the Deputy Speaker post. Rahul Gautam is joining us with more details on this. Rahul, realistically speaking, if they make any push for the Speaker's post, it's not going to be possible because even if the opposition's numbers are beefed up compared to previously, the NDA still very much has the numbers to sail through in the Speaker's election. But the opposition, we understand, is in talks right now to ensure that they get the Deputy Speaker post.
Akshita, it's a battle of optics and perception. You rightly pointed out that opposition might not be having the numbers, but they want to make this point that it has been a traditional convention that the Speaker post goes to the Treasury benches, while the Deputy Speaker post always comes from opposition benches. And while in 2014 there was a Deputy Speaker from AIDMK, Mr. Thambidurai, in 2019 this post was left vacant. So therefore, since now opposition is going to come back with greater force in Lok Sabha, therefore they want to, they are of firm belief that Deputy Speaker post should go to opposition, and then a consensus should be built around the name of the person who is going to become the Speaker. See, we have to really understand that there's another dimension to this entire exercise, that opposition camp also wants to know the real number on the floor of the House. Remember, if there's going to be a contest for a Speaker post, obviously they're going to be voting, and then the numbers would be revealed. So opposition would be knowing that where they stand. So clearly it's a pressure tactics on the part of the opposition that they are pushing for the post of Deputy Speaker. At the same time, they are also reaching out to Treasury bench, to the government, that there should be consensus for the post of Speaker. So there's no election happening, and there could be a better coordination between Treasury and opposition benches. See, we have to really understand that this is being done, as I was telling you earlier, also to send out this message that there's something which can be called as parliamentary convention, which is not being followed by the ruling dispensation, and that's why they are pushing for the post of Deputy Speaker. So it's a matter, you can say,
you're right also, Rahul, that it's also about posturing, it's about optics, sending out a message that, we have an aggressive strategy going into Parliament. Thanks very much, Rahul, for joining us with those details. We'll track the latest that comes in from both sides, really, as we count down to the Parliament session. But let's just quickly brief you on how the Speaker essentially is elected. You're interestingly going to see first the President appointing a pro tem Speaker. This will be done to administer the oath of office to all those who will become members of Parliament. Only once that formality is done, only once the MPs are sworn in, will the vote for the Speaker actually take place. There'll be a notice submitted for a motion supporting Speaker by noon. This will be done a day prior to the election. then it's quite simple. The Speaker is elected by a simple majority of votes by MP. So because of that, usually it's a member of the ruling party who gets the Speaker's post. In this case, in all likelihood, it's going to be from the BJP, from the NDA. And all the other allies have said, we leave it to Prime Minister Modi's discretion. So we will see who exactly is the Speaker. For now, the speculation continues on who will be the chosen one. All right, let's move on to our top story here on 6 p.m. Prime. We've been seeing a raging debate over electronic voting machines. And now, in Andhra Pradesh, the YSRCP chief, former Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Jagan Mohan Reddy, has called for a move towards voting by paper ballots. He said that any advanced democracy won't use an EVM, but paper ballots. And this comes, of course, after what we've seen in the Lok Sabha election and the Assembly election in Andhra Pradesh, where the YSRCP was completely routed. The TDP is saying that this is a case of sour grapes, that Jagan Mohan Reddy is now complaining because he lost the elections. Here's a report on all the political reactions on this big story.
The EVM showdown has now led to a political storm in Andhra Pradesh. Days after the resounding mandate for TDP in Andhra, former Chief Minister Jagan Mohan Reddy has questioned the use of electronic voting machines. And his comment has sparked a political war of words. Jagan took to social media to propose the use of paper ballots instead of EVMs, saying that every advanced democracy in the world uses ballot papers. So why not India? The TDP was quick to hit back, sharing this old video of Jagan after the 2019 elections, where he hailed EVMs.
EVM అన్నది 80% of the జనాభా ఓట్లు వేసినారు. రికార్డ్ పోలింగ్ 80% జనాభా వెళ్ళి పోలింగ్ బూత్లో బటన్ నొక్కినారు. బటన్ నొక్కిన తర్వాత వాళ్ళు ఏ పార్టీకి ఓటేశారని వీవీప్యాట్లో వాళ్ళకి కనిపిస్తూ ఉంది. వాళ్ళకి వీవీప్యాట్లో వాళ్ళు వేసిన ఓటు వీవీప్యాట్లో వాళ్ళకి కనిపించే ఓటు రెండు మ్యాచ్ అయ్యాయి కాబట్టి వాళ్ళు సాటిస్ఫై అయ్యి బూత్లో నుంచి బయటకు వచ్చారు. ఈ 80% మంది ఎవరైతే ఓటేశారో ఎవడు కంప్లైంట్ చేయాల.
The NDA now is mocking Jagan, claiming that the YSRCP is bitter about their poor showing in Andhra of getting only 11 seats and hence blaming EVMs.
I'm absolutely shocked by seeing the tweet put out by the former Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Mr. Jagan Mohan Reddy, trying to find fault with the EVM machines. In 2019, when the people of Andhra Pradesh had given a wonderful mandate to their party, Mr. Jagan Mohan Reddy had no problem. Today, after the destruction he's done to the state, people have thrown him out, and today he's complaining about the EVM machines.
Jagan Mohan Reddy should realize is that people defeated him exactly because of this reason of him being the most undemocratic CM in the history of Andhra Pradesh. He trampled upon all democratic institutions. He must realize the defeat is not due to the EVMs but because of his actions.
Interestingly, in neighbouring Telangana too, the BRS is echoing Jagan's stand.
See, when we were in power, if we are talking something, or when we are not in power today, and if we are talking something against the EVMs, that wouldn't be right. The only thing is, for those in the government, and particularly the government of India, they have to ensure that the Election Commission of India needs to answer such kind of discrepancies.
With Jagan now echoing the India bloc's stand on EVMs, is it a sign of his political leaning now? Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, let's open this up now and bring in our panelists on this broadcast to discuss exactly what the TDP and the YSRCP stand exactly is. Joining us is Mr. Pattabhiram Komareddy, National Spokesperson of the TDP. We'll also be joined shortly by Mr. Ravichandra Reddy, Spokesperson of the YSRCP. Mr. Komareddy, to you first. You know, while you've called out Jagan Mohan Reddy over his comment about EVMs, The reality is that in 2019, even Chandrababu Naidu questioned the use of electronic voting machines. Today, mandate is in favour. Today, he's come out and said that, you can't question the EVMs. The Telugu Desam party right now is taking a stand that's similar to the NDA. A few years ago, Naidu was saying exactly what Jagan Mohan Reddy is saying.
Good evening, Akshita. Jagan Reddy's comments on EVMs today through social media is heights of hypocrisy. Unable to digest the bitter defeat and not knowing how to accept the people's mandate graciously, he is making these baseless comments on EVMs. In 2019, when he had won a similar kind of mandate from the people of Andhra Pradesh, he had gone to the extent of explaining how every voter can check his vote on the VVPAT slip, and that not even a single voter had complained on the EVMs in 2019. So he had gone to every length and breadth to support the EVMs. But today, after such a miserable defeat, he had started, to blame the EVMs again. So it is heights of hypocrisy. People are laughing today at his comments. Even in the recent elections, not even a single voter, just like Jagan Reddy was mentioning in 2019, not even a single voter this time had made any complaint on the EVM.
Okay,
every voter had checked his vote.
You've called out Jagan Mohan Reddy. I've given you the opportunity to do that. Now answer my question. Answer my question about what Naidu's stand was in 2019 versus today, sir.
That is not at all true. In 2019, we have not made any kind of comment on the EVM.
So wasn't there a petition? Wasn't there a petition in the Supreme Court? Wasn't there a petition in the Supreme Court?
See, our petition was way back before the 2014 elections. It is because of our petition only that the VVPAT slip concept has come into place. It is because of Mr. Naidu's petition in the court that every EVM got a VVPAT machine. So the credibility of the EVMs had increased because of our petition in the court. So after the VVPAT system came into place, there is not even a single iota of doubt on the EVMs. So the people like Jagan Reddy should learn how to accept the people's mandate graciously. They should learn to introspect, not make such comments on EVMs and make EVMs the scapegoats. So the total problem is Jagan Mohan Reddy is not able to digest this defeat. So we advise Jagan Reddy to introspect. You should understand that it is because of your 5 years of misrule. People have given this kind of a mandate. It is a slap on the face of the YSR Congress party. So stop blaming the EVMs and start learning how to introspect and how to correct yourself.
Okay, but you're saying at this point that this wasn't the stand of the Telugu Desam party. And of course, you've raised those questions of Jagan Mohan Reddy. But like I said, there will be questions about what Chandrababu Naidu's stand was earlier. Overall, do you think, Mr. Komar Reddy, with the stand that Jagan Mohan Reddy has taken today, that he could be in alignment with the India bloc? So far, there's been a lot of talk of, a tacit understanding between the BJP and the YSRCP. What is the TDP's view now of what's happening? Do you think Jagan is leaning towards the India bloc? Is that a concern for you?
I don't think Mr. Modi, the Honorable Prime Minister, will ever join hands with such a corrupt politician. Jagan Reddy is the most corrupt politician in the entire country. He has around 19 CBI and ED cases on him. So I don't think Mr. Modi had ever had any kind of understanding with Jagan Reddy. So if he chooses to go with the India Alliance, it is up to him. India Alliance is like a pack of cards which is already collapsing. So if he wants to go along with them, it is his choice. He had always said that, his fight is against the Congress and so many other statements he had made. So it is up to him.
Okay.
Whatever decision he wants to make at the national level, we don't want to comment on it right now. But what we want to say today is Jagan Reddy has been utterly defeated by the people of Andhra Pradesh because of all his wrongdoings.
Okay.
So
we've got some breaking news. We've got some breaking news coming in. Unfortunately, Mr. Reddy couldn't join us, so we're going to wrap this up. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us here on India Today. You've put forth the TDP's version. Let's cut across to news coming in right now. The TDP government now has gone ahead and renamed schemes that were named by the Jagan government. So all schemes that were named after YSR, after Jagan Mohan Reddy's father, has now been renamed after NTR. So one example is, in fact, the YSR Vidyonati, which is now renamed as the NTR Vidyonati. So you've got several schemes which Jagan Mohan Reddy had, in fact, introduced, and several of them were renamed by him from NTR to YSR. So now it's essentially back to NTR. So this name change politics, something that you see very often in Andhra Pradesh, because it's a question of legacy also, that's playing out once again in the state. Images from Andhra Pradesh in Amravati, a sea of Pawan Kalyan's fans gathered as Pawan Kalyan from Power Star officially took charge as Andhra Pradesh Deputy Chief Minister. A mini roadshow of sorts was held in Amravati as he made his way towards the Secretariat. Thousands of fans, as you see on your screens there, had gathered to hail Pawan Kalyan, which is always the case. And then, as he entered the Secretariat, Chief Minister Naidu was there to welcome him as well. His deputy now, as the Deputy CM of Andhra Pradesh, took charge. Let's play out those images of, in fact, Naidu with Pawan Kalyan as well, and the warm welcome that he accorded to Pawan Kalyan. Let's put out those images.